Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And we're almost there to being able to open the catalogue, which is the mini catalogue, which runs from January to April. Not quite yet, a day or two. Well, on the 5th of January, I will be able to open it. And I'm going to do a walkthrough. So, you know, if you want to have a look through and haven't got a catalogue, or go through some of the things with me or the people that have got catalogues from me, then feel free to do so. Friendly Gnomes. I love gnomes, as you know. I use the other gnomes, and I will show you. This was the gnomes in the autumn winter catalogue, and if you look, you can see that you've got the little gnome with the lantern, and that little gnome has got a heart on it on this one, and you've got the little gnome here with the little hat up, and excuse me, that's this little gnome, and he's got flowers for springtime in his beard. And then we've got the little girl gnome, and this one again, little girl gnome, but more sort of floral flowery things in. Quite sweet as well. This one, no eye. This one, which is in the new one, you can see he's got a little eye, and a little eye on that one. Now, the great thing is that if you bought this with the bundle, you would have bought the dies, and the dies fit all of these images, so you can still die cut out. So because I'd got the dies, I thought I'm going to get the stamp set because I wanted to. However, I love the other elements on there. You've got balloons. Balloons are perfect for just colouring in and just doing wishing you a magical birthday. You've got pretty flowers, and then you've got the most sweet little bird and sweet little squirrel, and a toadstool, which is a good size. So we are going to do something not using the gnomes, but using some of the other elements. And we're using the toadstool. So I'm going to put the toadstool on a block. It's nice because it is a photopolymer, so you can see quite easily. I'm using Memento because we're going to colour it quickly in blends. So I'm just going to ink this up nicely, and then we're going to put one up here like that. We're going to put another, oops, turned my ink pad the wrong way up. That wasn't very smart, was it? We're going to put one down that side, and then we're going to put the last one down in on the bottom on here like that. So we've got 3 little toadstools. Let me just clean this off. As I said to you, when I'm using stamps for the first time, I tend to do like a nice sort of busy background using quite a lot of it, because then you get some of the idea of what you want to use. So we've now got the flower. I really quite like this flower, so we're going to put the flower on, and we're going to do exactly the same sort of thing, but I'm going to have a flower down on there like that. I'm going to have a flower in on there like that. And I'm going to have a flower in on there like that. So it looks as if the flowers are growing up through there, which is rather nice. And then I'm going to put in, and I've got a choice. I can either do a little bird or a squirrel. I think the squirrel's going to be a little big, but we'll have a look. So I've got the squirrel and I've got the bird. So if I put the little bird in like that, he will fit. If I put the little squirrel in, I think he's a bit big. Yeah, squirrel's a bit big. but the little bird will fit in perfectly. So I'm just going to take the little bird, ink him up, and I want him sort of sitting on the, let's have him like that. And we can have another one that side or this side I think, just down on there. And I might just get him in, just in on the side there. There we are. So we've got 3 little birds sort of dotted about at the side. And that is then everything that we're going to do on this one. So let's put this back in on here. So we are going to colour the, now you would use red. I have literally just run out of my red, so I'm using a contraband red, but that's going to be fine. So we just need to just colour, and you can see how easy it is to colour it round. So I'm not doing anything overly complicated. Just going to go around the edges first. It's really rather nice doing sort of thing. I quite enjoy doing colouring, and you don't have to be a perfect colourist to do it. You can just do it as the same, whatever you've got. But I have just, you could use cherry cobblers, you could use real reds, you could use Poppy Parade, you could use Sweet Sorbet, any tone of red that you want or that you have. So I'm just literally going round quite quickly. And we'll do all of them at the same time. So you can fast forward on this bit if you want to. I know some people like just listening to me nattering away. So as I say, I hope you all had a lovely Christmas time and New Year, and are now thinking about the year ahead. Don't know, do any of you make New Year's resolutions? I don't. I always think if you make a New Year's resolution, it's something that you're bound to break over the period of time. I know people go like, oh, that's it, I'm not going to eat chocolate at all, and then as soon as you go, somebody offers you a chocolate, you go like, oh yes please. So I think it's my thing is as I say at the end of all my videos, you know, be safe and well and be kind to people, and if you can do that, I think that you can't ask for more than that. And you know, sometimes it's not as easy. You know, there are some people that you don't particularly like. I'm going to turn it round so that I'm not putting my hands through on it. But yes, there are, you know, sometimes there's people that you don't particularly like or get on with, but if you can always be kind to everybody and everything as well, you know, all our creatures, everything in nature, all our little birds and things. I've got my little bird feeder out at the moment because it's been quite cold and quite frosty and quite you know, the little birds do struggle when it's very cold. I have a pond, so there's always fresh water, but the little birds, I've got a lovely robin, which this little bird's going to be a robin, that's in my garden, and he really loves feeding. I put bird seed out rather than peanuts and things like that, so I've got a bird seed feeder, and it means that I also have some big fat wood pigeons that come in, And they're not particularly nice because they're, well, they are nice as birds, but they will, if I leave anything out, they will come and eat the whole thing. But they can't get onto the bird feeder because it's quite a small, or it's a delicate thing to balance on. So the little birds can, but the big birds can't. So, right, I'm going to do a little bit of dark on this. So just where you sort of think you've got little bits of dark coming through, just add just a little bit of your dark colour. And again, it's very easy to see where you're going to add your darks, because you can see at the side on here you've got your dark shadows, so it's very easy to do that because you know that you're going to be having your dark shadow, and that will give you your line for where you can do your dark. So I've just done that on there. Then I'm going to use for the bottom of it, I'm going to use some, I've got smoky slate. I quite fancy having it sort of pale, so I'm going to use the pale and just see, but I think that that will come in quite nicely. Yes, it will. So I want the underneath to come in the smoky slate, and again it's just quite a, when they're juicy you have to do them quite gently, because otherwise you'll find out that they have a tendency to bleed. But smoky slate I think is a lovely colour and works nicely with the bottom of the mushroom on here. So I'm just going to do the underneath as well. So yes, so I don't know how the weather's been for all of you guys. I know that parts of America have had this, I don't know what it was called, a snow blizzard bomb of some sort. It literally, I saw pictures on the news of houses that literally, where the water had come up, they turned completely to ice. Quite extraordinary. So, and unfortunately, because it was so cold, there were quite a few people who didn't survive in the cold temperatures, got stuck in cars and things. So I hope all of you were safe and not in any of the parts that had this terrible weather. It's always difficult to know. I know that people come, well, people watch me from all around the world, which is rather lovely. I always think it's nice to have, you know, people and friends who are all the way around the world. And I class everybody as friends because I think everybody, that's all the people that give me comments all the time. I have lovely comments, and I have regular people that always, you know, leave me lovely comments, and it really makes a difference. You know, I sit here doing these videos, nattering away to you, and it's lovely when I get nice messages and things back. Right, so that's the little toadstool on here. Now I've got the dark, and I just want to again just give a little bit of just in underneath here. So I'm just going round underneath, and then down on here, because that's where the end of the toadstool was sort of coming. So we can add a little bit of dark in, and you can see how once you just add this little bit of dark, it does make quite a bit of difference in on there. And I want to just do a little bit across the top as well. So I'll take a little bit across the top, a little bit down on here, like that. And then I want to do the little windows and the door, and I'm going to do those in the other end, if I can get it out. Yes, I can. So in the dark, I'm just going to do the door like this. I'm going to leave the little door handle just as it is. So as I say, you know, this is a very easy, I always try and show you easy ways of colouring without doing too much, you know, difficulty in there, because I know that it's not always easy to colour. And, you know, I'm the first one to say I'm no expert at colouring, but I do enjoy just doing something that's quite pretty but simple. And as I say, using alcohol markers, it's quite nice. So I'm not doing the doorknob, I'm just leaving that like that. So those are our toadstools. Let me just put the lid back on that one. So now we want our little flowers. Now our little flowers are going to be very easy to do. I'm just using, this is light granny apple green. So I'm just going to take this up and just colour these in. Like that. And this little bit on here. So on each one of them, by the side of here, you've got these different colours. So I'm just doing the little bits by the house. I'm doing it all in the granny apple green. So as I say, you can do it relatively quickly. Let's take that up there. And this little bit, like that. Little bit on here. So as I say, you know, you don't have to spend a huge amount of time in doing it, but you can make it look quite pretty quite quickly. Right, so that's the granny apple green, and then I'm going to use, I've got light mossy meadow, and that's purely because I've run out of the other ones. So on this, I'm literally just going to do a little bit of the dark on the bottom, because that just gives you just a little bit of colour definition and shadow, so it makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. But you can see I'm not spending a huge amount of time on it, so I'm just going up through on these little pieces. So did I do these ones? Yes, I did. Okay, so that's those. Then the next one is to do the little flower. So I'm going to use one of my favourites, which is the Highland Heather. So this is the light, no, it's the dark Highland Heather. So I'm just going to do the little flowers with the Highland Heather. And again, you can do them in whatever colour you want, but it's quite nice to just do a little splosh all the way round. And as I say, these ones are quite quick to do, so you don't have to overly colour them in. It's literally just a, and we're going to do these little bits as well, because this is just sort of a little flower. So we'll colour these ones in. And this one. Going quiet because you can tell I'm concentrating again. But as I say, you know, this is probably going to take 20 minutes maybe. But by the time we've finished, it will look really rather nice, I think. So, and we're going to colour in the background as well, so that'll give you a an idea of how to colour that in. Right, so that's the flowery bit on there. Now, because I'm going to make it a robin, I've got, this is dark Calypso Coral. However, says me. Right, just got it off. That's the only trouble with these pens. If you have arthritic hands, they are not the easiest, and they have to click in tightly, otherwise they dry out. So okay, so we've got that in there. Now with the little bird, I'm just going to do his little tummy on each one of him, like this. Little beak. There's that bit on there. And then I'm going to use, I think this is this light? Dark crumb cake. It might be a bit dark. I'm just going to let's have a little look and see. Oh no, that's fine. So I'm just literally going to go over here quite lightly with the little bird, so he's a little robin, because as I said, robins are my favourite birds, and robins are tiny weeny little birds in the UK. I know robins in America are quite big birds. They're more the size of our thrushes and starlings and stuff, but robins in the UK are little tiny birds, and they are really, they come down into the garden and eat the worms, and they're just a really nice, cheerful little, you always think of them on Christmas cards and things, but I think that they're my robins in the garden all year round, so I really like my little robin. There we go. So now we've got that one. Now we've got a lot of white space round on here, so a little tip is to take, I've got to find it, which I will in a minute. Here we go. Right, take a blending brush, and I'm going to use Pool Party. Okay, so you want to use something that is fairly pale, and then if you just take your blending brush and you're going to take it in from the edge, and we're just going to take it round. You can take it in over the top of the, just take it in the middle a little bit. Sometimes you have to be a bit careful so you're not doing the white of the toadstool and bringing that out in a different colour. But it's the sort of thing that if you just go round the edges, and then you can just bring it up through the centre, or from the top through the centre down on here, to just add a bit of colour. And as I say, you can do it a bit darker if you want to around the edges. But what it does is it softens the whole of the image, and it also makes it look really rather nice. So if we then take that out of the way, let's take this out of the way. You then have that with all of the lovely colours on, and then I would probably put it on like a green background. You could put it on the blue, but the green will actually just bring it in, and then you can add whatever sentiments you want. So I've got a couple of little things from another new stamp set called Picturesque. And it's got, do you remember I keep saying that I'm always sending cards just because? Well, we've got a just because. So I thought it would be quite nice to just put just because, and I'm just going to cut this out quite small because we don't want it to be overly big. And I can put that in maybe just down there, just because, like that. So it just makes it a little just because card. And you could put it anywhere you wanted. So I could put it in on the center there. In fact, that might work quite well. I might just have it there, just because. There we are. And I'm not going to mat it or anything. It just is going to sit on there as a just because card, because I send quite a lot of just becauses. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's from this Friendly Gnomes. And as I say, we haven't used any of the gnome characters. But as I say, a little toadstool with a squirrel on top. You can fussy cut them out. I actually did that on one of the others because I just like to put a little bird in there. So it's going to be a very versatile stamp set. I will use the gnomes quite a lot, but I will use the others. I love wishing you a magical birthday. Spring is everywhere. Don't often have many spring sentiments. So, you know, nice one to use, not only for the gnomes. So, as always, thank you so much for watching me. Please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.